Hey folks, this is Vincent Ottilie with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and welcome to episode 23 of the DGA podcast. Another month has gone by. So, we're going to try and keep things nice and brief this time around. Forewarning you, my soundboard is on the fritz right now, and I don't feel like fixing it. But I kind of have a backup plan. This is Gilbert Gottfried, the PR representatives for the developers behind King of Seas shipped me a care box. It was just a flag and this parrot. And the parrot apparently talks. Say hello.
Hello.
Okay, yes. Say hello.
Say hello.
Okay, yeah, alright. So from time to time, he'll be chiming in as we see fit.
So from time to time, he'll be chiming in as we...
Okay.
I can't hear him through the Discord, through the thing.
That's alright, you'll hear him later.
Oh, okay, so it's actually coming through.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh.
At least I hope so. Let me see. Say hello. Okay, or don't. Say hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
Okay.
on my microphone it's coming through.
Oh, okay, okay.
I wonder if Discord... Okay, anyway.
Discord.
Alright! Okay. So, episode 23. So we're gonna do something nice and simple this month. Top 5 digital deck builders. And I wanted to put the word digital in there simply because there are a lot of tabletop games that are also deck builders. For example, you've got the classic game Dominion, which is sort of like almost the father of all deck builders. And then you've got some other wonderful deck builders. But that's not to say that we did not include a tabletop game in this list that has gone digital. There are plenty of board games out there that have gone digital, and there may be one or two on this list. So, again, we don't worry about rules. We just do whatever. So if there's a board game in here, I don't care. So top 5 digital deck builders. We'll jump right into... Hold on. I gotta do this properly. Number 5.
Number 5.
Yes, okay. Number 5. So, my top 5, or my number 5 entry for this, and I should probably just hit play. There we go. It's been a while since I've done this. I typically don't use this anymore. Okay, so yes, my number 5 is a game called Dungeon Top. And Dungeon Top is not your typical deck builder roguelike. When you think of a deck builder roguelike, you think, okay, I've got a hand of cards, and I've got 3 energy to spend this turn, and I'm going to do damage to this enemy, and he's going to do damage back, and then rinse, repeat until one of us dies. Well, this game instead plays out on this grid. It starts off small, like a 4x4 grid, and you actually use the cards in your hand. You still spend mana every turn, but you're going to put these cards down onto this grid, and it's tactical. Like, certain units only attack in melee, certain units only attack at range. So, you kind of have to move units around, they get action points. Like in Hearthstone, some units can act as soon as you put down, others are exhausted until the next turn. So, I don't know, there's just something about this game that sets it apart from the binary deck builder roguelike/light that I find interesting. Have you had a chance to play this at all, hun?
I did. I binge played it, and it was really, really good. It was really fun. It was so hard for me because it's one of those strategy, tactical, moving in different lanes and stuff type of games. But I really liked the mechanics of it, and I thought it was a lot of fun. The dungeon aspect was really interesting.
Mm-hmm. The only downside to it was the dungeon itself. Like, there weren't a whole lot of choices to go next. Like, when you encounter something, yeah, you could go right, you could go up, but typically, like, you were funneled into going into a particular direction, and then you would fight this mini-boss, and then it would warp you back to where you started, and then you could branch off into that other direction that you couldn't progress in before. So it doesn't give you a whole lot of choice, unfortunately, at least not in the early stages. That's my only complaint, like, just lack of choices. But the tactical aspect, I mean, you can still choose your rewards once you beat a level. You can pick between certain units. You can equip different pieces of equipment that give you various buffs. And you even have a unit that represents yourself on the battlefield too. And if that unit dies, you lose. But you can equip that unit with, say, a weapon that does something special and, gives you some kind of unique advantage. So you can build your characters in various ways in this game. And I think there's a lot of replayability here. So that's why I chose this one. So, all right. So anything else to say before we move on to the next entry?
I thought it was a surprise that you picked that one, but
Really?
yeah, that's cool though.
All right. Surprises are going to be everywhere, I guess. All right. So what was your number 5?
Mystic Veil.
Mystic Veil. I love this game. I'm terrible at it though. It frustrates me because I never win, but I love it. It is based off of an actual tabletop game. And I like the digital because in the actual physical board game, the game comes with these sleeves, and you're constantly sliding cards in and out of these sleeves, and that, I imagine, would get annoying. With the digital, you don't have to worry about that. So what prompted you to pick this particular game for your number 5?
I love the whole growth aspect. The fact that you can have different sections of a card, getting rid of negative buffs as per the icon, and getting them replaced with positive ones. It's just so interesting, and I can't really think of any other deck builder that does something like this. I could be wrong, though.
Yeah, there's also a push your luck element to this game, too. And the game actually encourages you to push your luck whenever possible. I mean, you still earn a reward if you push your luck too much. The way the game operates is that your starting deck of cards includes, for lack of better terms, bust cards. If 3 of these bust cards, I think, it's been a while since I played, but if 3 of these come out as you're drawing them, 3 of these symbols, you bust. It could be 4. But anyway, my point is that, so you're drawing cards, okay, 2 bust cards have come up. Do I keep drawing cards, and that way I can play more for my turn? But if I end up drawing that last bust card that wrecks me, then I can't do anything for my turn. I earn a small consolation prize, but that's it. So, and the cool thing about this game, I think the biggest thing, is that the cards in this game have 3 parts to them. An upper part, a middle part, and a bottom part. And the cards that you can buy from the general array, the store, can be slotted into existing cards, either on the top, middle, or bottom. So let's say you've got a card that's just empty, and then on the bottom, a piece of a card, or just a card, whatever. You could then slide another card into that same sleeve, so as long as it's a top or middle, because those 2 are still empty on that card that you're trying to slot into. So in effect, you could end up with a card that has 3 effects on it. So whenever it gets drawn on a future turn, 3 different things happen with it. So it's kind of cool. Do you build your deck of cards to create 1 or 2 fully slotted cards that are really powerful, or do you split up your purchases across multiple cards, maybe 2 for this card, 2 for this card, 2 for this card? There's a little bit of strategy there too.
There's definitely a way to cheese it, I'm sure, but there's also a bunch of different factions, I believe. Or is it factions?
It's they're like expansion decks that you can add. Like Dominion, yeah. There are tons of expansions to this game, and with the game you can include certain expansions, and that the way the array works, the store where you can purchase cards from, they change every game. And the pool that you have to draw from is dependent on the expansions that you choose in addition to the core set. So it may not be the same game every turn. With the core set, you're going to draft this, and this, and this. With an expansion, you might draw these from the core and these from the expansion this game, and then maybe these from the core and these from the expansions on a later game. So yeah, it's always a different game. I think the overall strategy with this game is always buy cards that let you negate those cards that make you bust. that's like that way you can continue drawing so that you've got so many resources on your turn and you'll never bust. That seems to be the favored strategy of this game, and that's how typically I think everyone wins at this. And I don't know, that to me that's a little boring to have to continuously rely on that one strategy. That being said, it is a great game. It's so unique, and
The fact that you start off like really, really weak, but then you get like so powerful later on, it is such a satisfying feeling to just keep bringing out cards over and over and over and over and over, because you did negate like eventually all of your busts,
the
bust
bus
icons.
Right, exactly. I don't remember what they're like. Corruption, is it? It might be
I
corruption.
think so. Yeah.
And you've also got this splendor thing going where you've got these goal cards that you're trying to shoot for, and if you manage to draw enough cards on your turn that match all of the symbols you need, like you might need 2 yellow or 2 green, and if you get those symbols on the cards that you draw, you can then take one of the bonus cards on the top of the array. So like you've got that in Splendor you can get nobles the same way. In this game you're just trying to get icons to get these land cards, I think they're called. But anyway, so yeah, this is a fantastic game. I wholeheartedly recommend this one. Mystic Vale, just be warned that, if you're like me, you'll probably lose on a regular basis if you try to do different things. But
I cannot imagine playing this game as the tabletop version because of the sleeves. I love the digital, just
it
for
makes
that.
things 3 times easier, I think.
Yes.
All right. So, I guess we need to get Gilbert out here. Gilbert Gottfried out here. Gilbert.
That name is copyrighted.
What am I going to call him?
What am I gonna call him?
Gobbert Gilfried.
Gilfrey.
There you go.
Godfrey. Okay, fine. Gilbert.
Okay, fine.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Okay. Number 4. I gotta do this. The downside to operating Gilbert here is that I have to now operate... There we go. And play. Alright, there we go.
Wait, what are you operating? What else?
The Windows and OBS and... Like, this is an
Oh.
extra thing to manage.
Oh, man.
It's all your fault, Gilbert. Number
Poor thing.
4, Over Dungeon. Despite the fact that we've got a scantily clad succubus as our primary character, yes, you can unlock other characters as you play, but despite the fact that you've got this scantily clad succubus, this game's a lot of fun. It's a versus game. Like, it's like Slay the Spire in that you've got these branching paths that you can choose. But as you draw these cards, the whole match operates in real time to some degree. And you're putting down cards, whether they be turrets or abilities or minions, and they automatically attack the enemy across the other side of the map. And there's a lot of different strategies to be had here. You want to put minions down because some of them protect your primary character from attack. You can put turrets down that automatically shoot at the enemy boss or the enemy that you're fighting. The enemy will call upon minions themselves, so you may have to come up with different cards that negate that. And there are so many different minion types in this game, so many different towers, so many different spells that you can play, and that's just, what you have to start with. As you continue playing, like in Slay the Spire, you build your deck as you go, and it becomes more powerful. You can even upgrade your cards to become more powerful. I think there's a campaign mode, and then there's like this ever dungeon-esque crawler thing. I don't remember off the top of my head because it's been a while since I've played it, but I do remember there being like a very long dungeon crawl mode where you're just continuously, like, there's this huge upgrade tree. And you can even prestige, I think, to reset your progress. And anyway, but there's a lot of playtime to be had with this game. It's just, my only complaint with it is that the developers kind of like abandoned it at this point and are no longer supporting it. I really want an Over Dungeon 2, and I want it to be fully supported. And there's so much that could be done with this game that isn't being done with this game. But it's still got a lot of replayability. I saw you on Steam playing this the other day. How did you like it?
This game was amazing.
You like? Okay, all right.
I read the tutorial and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so complicated." And then I started playing it and I put it on auto. I never played it on manual.
Manual is more work. On
Yeah.
the If you put it on auto, the game plays the cards from your hand for you. It's just
Yeah.
like it's like an idle game at that point, but it's still fun.
It's fun because like you can choose like which cards to get, which cards to remove as you're dungeon crawling. And I mean, you can. I like the whole battling field. Like, it's so cool to see all those animals and the effects pop up, and you just like kicking butt. And the relics are awesome because they really up your game.
The relics are your like in Slay the Spire, you get these permanent objects that give you a buff. But obviously they go away in between, like or like after every run, they typically
Yeah.
go away.
I was reading that the reason why the devs abandoned it is because they couldn't balance it. Now I could be totally wrong, but that's what I read. And you can basically win with only 3 cards and
Really?
like one relic.
Leave it to you to look all of this up and ruin my No, I'm kidding.
I'm sorry.
I like the tower builds. I like nothing gives me greater pleasure than spawning. Like it starts with like 2 dogs, and then it morphs into like 4, and then this card duplicates every animal that I've got on the field. Now I've got like 3,000 animals rushing slowly
Yes.
toward the boss. Or if you've got a tower spawner, like there's buildings you can put down near you, and they do things like they will increase your tower's fire rate, or it'll automatically duplicate a tower that you put down on the opposite side of the battlefield. So like you can end up with 300 towers on your side. Your screen is just in red. You can't see a darn thing because there's so much going on. Like it's a lot of fun. Like there's I want more.
I was laughing because I was cracking up trying not to wake you up when I was playing this in the middle of the night because I had a relic that summoned 3 chicks, right? That every time you play an animal card or every second or third animal card it would summon 3 chickens. And then I had a card that said flip through your whole deck, and if you can't find a duplicate, it'll create that many sheep. Dude, I had 1,000 animals in my battlefield, and it was lagging my computer so bad. Even after the boss died, it was still going, like, and going and going and going. It was hilarious.
That's awesome. Did you actually beat a run, or like are you playing
yeah.
that one dungeon crawl mode?
I played the regular dungeon crawl mode, but the huge campaign that you're at, I cannot play that because it'll progress you, and our profiles are linked because of family share. So I'm staying away from that so I don't have
I
to
see.
like.
Much appreciated. I don't know when I'll get back to this because of my busy
Yeah.
schedule. However, So that was my number 4. What was your number 4?
Hand of Fate 1 and 2.
Hand of Fate
Mostly
1 and
2.
2. This is a game I have not played for many years. Have you played it recently?
No, I haven't, but I remember it so well because it was so creepy and it was awesome, and I really love this game.
Now, I don't know, like, all right, this is the gray area. Is this really a deck builder? Like, I know that in Hand of Fate, like, you earn cards as you play, and then when you start your game, you can decide what cards you want to include in your deck so that you can you can adjust your encounters, you know what I mean, that are coming up for your next run. But do you actually earn cards as you play to actually do things? Like, that's my question. I mean, I'll allow
you
it.
can.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you can because you have to fill your deck with encounter cards. And depending on what you bought from the market, then those are the ones that you play. You don't want to keep like the really crap encounter cards.
Yeah, I know that you can upgrade your equipment as you play.
Yeah.
Like, you can get new weapons and the like.
Which are cards themselves.
Yeah, they
right?
are. And, you have to manage health and food and hunger and stuff like that. That's cool. So it's like a tabletop card game. And I could have sworn there was an actual physical tabletop game for this, but I don't remember. Maybe I'm misremembering. The combat, how did you feel about the combat? Because the game typically throws you into these stupid puzzles where you have to navigate, get around the fire and the trapped floors to get to the end, or defeat a band of brigands or whatever. Like, that part seemed out of place for a game like this. The game was like trying to match this card game and this action RPG hack and slash element together. I don't know if it really did that all that well, but did you?
I liked it in the first one, but in the second one, it was really clunky and it was very hard to maneuver. You have to time a lot of dodges and blocks, like really, really time them, and it was so hard to do because it was kind of buggy. Like sometimes there was a delay, like when it would show an icon where you had to guard or block or whatever.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't work when you actually did. So Hand of Fate 2 kind of fell on that, I guess.
Yeah.
But the first one, I didn't mind it. The second one, it was decent. If it worked better, I actually wouldn't mind it.
Okay. Fair enough. Anything else to say about this before we move on?
It was very creepy. I liked it.
You liked it. I like the idea of the deck building and the, you can build your deck to sort of customize the run that you're going to have. But, I just the action RPG part didn't really do it for me. But, yeah. It was a cool idea that I don't think has been done in very many places, if at all. Okay. So, I guess I will get Gilbert here.
Oh, real quick. I don't think I minded it too much because it felt like a story. Like it felt like you were just playing with cards like through the dungeons and then you would like jump into the story. It was kind of cool looking like that. Okay, go ahead. Hi, Gilbert.
Hello. I love this thing. Number 3. Okay.
The wings just cracked me
The
up.
wings. I love the
every
wings.
time.
All right. Number 3. He's in training for my. He's going to replace me someday. So he's training to be me. Number 3.
This is your co-host. Your new co-host.
No, as me. I'm going to retire at some point. I don't know when. Okay, so let's see. Number 3. Click that. Okay, old people stuff and go. Okay, number 3. I streamed this last night. Ratropolis.
Oh.
Ratropolis is a cross between Kingdom 2 Crowns and your average deck building roguelike. Light, I should say. I guess I should emphasize that distinction. Roguelike, from my understanding, is a game that you completely start over from scratch every single run with no permanent progress, whereas a roguelite, L-I-T-E, light, gives you some kind of permanent progression. And this game is a roguelite in the sense that it gives you permanent progression as you continue playing this. So the game has you, like in Kingdom 2 Crowns, it's a 2D field. You've got 2 sides that you're defending, right and left. And you've got a town of rats. And you're going to be building houses to improve your population. You're going to be playing cards to add militia to either side, whether they be archers or melee or whatever. And then you can also purchase new cards as you play to add to your deck. Instead of having mana to spend every turn, you've got actual money, and you earn money over time via taxes. There are some cards that you play that, you can sacrifice some population temporarily as labor to, work out in the fields, and then they come back and they give you money after 45 seconds. And then meanwhile, these waves of enemies are coming at you, and you have to defend. I love this game. It is hard, but I love that you can pick different specializations. Like whenever you first start a run, it'll say, do you want to be the general rat, or the science rat, or the shaman rat? And you unlock more of these types as you play, and thus you get different cards that are specialized to those particular people. Your relics, quote-unquote relics in this game, are advisors that you earn, and they give you permanent buffs for that run. There's also a little bit of RNG in terms of, like, choose your own adventure. So, like, the scripted hey, this thing happened, choose this, this, or this, and you get these rewards, whatever. There's also, again, people that come by, they offer you cards. Do you want to buy this card out of your deck or this card out of your deck? Do you want to upgrade this card in your deck? You need more population. You want to buy these houses that you can put down, and you have to physically put these buildings down in your town. Have you played this?
I have. Again, another one that I binged played on your Steam account.
Have you beaten it? At least gotten past a run?
Um, I think I have. I actually don't remember.
Okay.
I think I have.
My first clear was last night. I was so surprised. Yeah, it's difficult, but
Yeah, it
it's
is.
a lot of fun. The general flow is nice. I wish there were multiple difficulty modes that I could slow things down. Like you have to last for I think 30 waves, and you're consistently encouraged to continue progressing, building your deck, and making your town better. And sometimes I feel like I'm being rushed to do that. So I would love a casual difficulty mode that slowed it down a bit, let me just have fun. It's nice and slow. But
When you were streaming this last night, I was telling our friends, oh, he's streaming Retropolis, and they says, I don't know what's that. What is that? And I says, what am I, New Yorkian all the time?
Hey, I'm podcasting over here.
So I said, it's like a tower defense, town building, side-scrolling deck builder game. And I remember Kane going, what the heck? And Nick was like, what the heck? And I says, do you... And I said, do you...
And I says...
Do you know Kingdom Two Crowns? And they didn't know what that was either. But yeah, I like Retropolis. It's really fun. It's adorable. Those little mice are just so cute. The art style is amazing.
They're rats.
Oh, rats. Are they rats? Oh yeah, Retropolis.
Ratropolis. It's not Micetropolis. It's Ratropolis.
Same thing.
Yeah, rice. Rice. Mice and rats. For whatever reason, I just combined both mice and rats into one species and rice.
We have a speech impediment problem.
Yes,
today.
well, I do. All right.
We both do.
What was your number 3?
Paperback.
Paperback. This is actually based off of an actual tabletop game. There's actual paperback and there's hardback. Paperback, I think, was the first game to be released. I think Tim Fowers is his name. Anyway, Paperback is a game where you have a starting deck of letters cards, and you play these letters. The letters that you're drawn for your turn, you have to try and make words. And typically, you can get assistance from cards already in the array, I think. Some are wild that you can call upon, but ultimately, you're going to be spelling out actual words with the letters that you have, and then you earn money, and then for that turn you spend that money and buy new letters from the array, and then they are added to your deck. And different letter cards that you buy may have different abilities on them that allow you to break the rules in certain ways. Some letters will let you earn money more easily, others will let you, I don't know. The abilities are, it's been a while. But your ultimate goal is sort of like in Dominion, where you're trying to purchase not only letters, but you're also trying to purchase these victory point cards that do nothing but clutter up your deck. But anyway, what did you think of Paperback?
Oh, I love this game. You know me. I
like your
love
word games.
Yes. And for this to be like a deck building word game is so much fun and amazing. And I wish this had achievements, but it doesn't, sadly. And it would be an incentive for me to play more of it.
I say, you and your achievements.
Yeah.
You can't cash them in anywhere. What's the point?
I don't know. It's just an incentive to keep playing the same game.
Okay.
Over and over. But is this multiplayer at all?
I might be pass and play. I don't remember. It's been years since I've played it.
Oh, it is online PvP. At least that's what it says.
All right.
Interesting.
Makes sense. What made this like your number? What's so special about it?
I just love a good word game. I really do, and I don't see a lot of deck building word games.
No,
like I mean,
agree.
there's Scrabble, but it's not really a deck builder. It's a tile
It's more of
builder.
like a tableau builder than
Yeah.
because it's just a board and you're building off of a central, central board.
Yeah.
Whereas this game, it's just it's a true and true deck builder.
There's another card game like this. It's called like letter something, I think. Dang it.
I
I'm
vaguely,
trying to find it.
while you're, let me ask Gilbert. Do you know
Well,
what
that's
game
okay.
she's talking about?
Do you know what game she's talking about?
No, he doesn't
No,
know.
he doesn't know.
But it was
Okay.
it was very similar. But I like this one. There's a market. You can buy cards for like more common letters. You can buy vowels. You can score like with two letters in one card. It's just really it gets your brain thinking.
Mhm.
It's really cool.
Nice. All right. Anything else to say about that?
I must really like this game for me to put it on number 3.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
All right, so I gotta get Gilbert here. You know what's coming, right, Gilbert?
Know what's coming, right, Gilbert?
Number 2.
Number 2!
Okay. This is
There
the
you go.
best swag ever. Just saying.
Swag.
Swag. That's hi dog. She's photobombing over here.
I know you see that.
Swag is like prizes that you earn. It's just company talk for like,
Wow.
when developers send out like care packages to reviewers, typically it's called like swag.
Is it now?
Well, you can do the research on it if you'd like, but
I am.
yes, okay. I am going to stall a little bit longer, and I think we are.
Swag is like a curtain piece of fabric fastened to hang in a drooping curve. Sorry.
Number 2!
Number 2!
Okay. So, number 2. Number 2 is Trials of Fire. Trials of Fire is. Oh boy. Alright. It's like an RPG-ish kind of game where you pick a team of 3 people. And they have their own individual deck of cards. So the hunter has his own deck, or the warrior has her own deck, or whatever. And you're going to be building upon those decks as you go. In battle, they draw a hand separately. So you're managing action points for each individual character. In addition to that, in battle, you do battle on this like hex-based grid. So range matters. Like the warrior typically needs to be next to their target melee-wise. The ranger, so as long as they've got line of sight, they'll be able to shoot something within range. So you're building and managing a deck for 3 different characters. You're upgrading these cards for these 3 different characters. The action point system is very unique in this game in that you can throw away cards from one person's hand to accrue action points. In typical deck builders, you start with, like, say, 3 action points and you play cards. In this game, you earn them by throwing away cards. So, like, okay, I'm looking at the Warlock's hand, and it's like, well, I can't do any of these things this turn, so I'm going to throw them all away, and that's going to earn me action points that I can then spend on my Hunter and my Warrior so that they can do stuff. So, like, this action point system in this game is brilliant. I love it. It's very strategic all around. You unlock more classes as you play. There's also, like I said, there's an RPG system in play where you might pick up a sword for your hunter, and items in this game not only like give you stats, but they also add new cards to your deck. So, like, there may be a reason why you may want to pass on this epic piece of armor because it includes a card that you're really not interested in adding to your deck. But then again, there are ways around that. There are materials that you can pick up along the way that improve cards or help you remove them from your deck or so on. So, have you played this?
I have not played this before, actually.
You're missing out.
I want to. I want to play this so bad. I downloaded it and it bugged out on me and it just crashed. So I've been trying to reinstall it since then.
Mm.
But I might actually try and reinstall it now, actually,
I
while we're
would.
doing this.
It might have been early access when you did it. I don't know if it's still early access or what. I don't remember. Um,
Trials of Fire
yeah,
is what
Trials
it's
of
called.
Fire. Yeah, Trials of Fire.
The only thing that gets me nervous about it is it seems like you have to place your character on like this board, like a strategic tactical board. Is there cover in the game or anything like that?
There's not cover so as much as there's line of sight.
Okay.
So, if you are facing ranged characters, sort of like it reminds me a little bit of D&D, where if you're hiding behind a tree and there's no line of sight, it can't hit you with a ranged attack. So, like, there's a similar system here. It's not like Company of Heroes where you've got light cover and heavy cover, but you do
Mm,
have a line of sight system where and there's also that opportunity strike going on where if you're in if you're in melee range of another character and you try and move out of that, there's a penalty that might be accrued there. You know what I
I
mean?
see. Yeah.
So like, I don't know, like this game hits all the right buttons for me. There is a little bit of RNG in this, in those dialogues that come up, like, do you want to help this guy or do you want to just go on your way? You never know what the outcome's going to be typically. And sometimes it'll say 60% chance for this to happen, 40% chance for this to happen. Oh, well, you got the bad outcome, so now you've got this permanent debuff on this particular character, or this particular negative card was added to this person's deck. You've got stuff like that. But it's like a D&D light story, like it's one of those one-offs D&D missions where you don't expect to play for 3 years, but it's a one-off that will last you a couple of hours, and you can either do the pre-scripted stories or you can do a random adventure, and then you can choose how long you want it to be, like how many maps, how many bosses do you want to fight. If you choose two, then okay, you get through the first map, you beat the first boss, now you're on the second map, get through that, beat the second boss, you're done. Or do you want to do like 3 or 1? So you can actually choose the length there. Half an hour experience, hour and a half experience, that kind of thing. So
Cool.
this is, and you're also unlocking more characters as you play as well. So you can also like pick and choose. Okay, I've unlocked new cards for my hunter, but I kind of want to see what these 3 characters can do together. How well do their abilities mesh? Does this warlock and this warrior do well on the same team? Who knows? We'll try it out, see what happens. So it's, eventually you'll find a team comp that you'll like and roll with it. So yeah,
Cool.
I recommend this one. Okay. What was your number 2?
Grifflands.
Grifflands. So tell me about Grifflands. Why do you like this one so much?
This has been on one of my top fives before
Mm-hmm.
on a previous podcast. I like this game because of the art style, the RPG aspect where you can like go all around the map,
Mm-hmm.
hop around, I guess. And it's really difficult though. That's probably the only con about it.
That's why I was at odds with myself about putting Grifflands on my list. The
Hmm.
only thing keeping me from putting it on my list is the difficulty on it. Like,
Hmm.
it is ruthless. It's brutal.
Yeah.
It will. What I like. All right, let's talk about what I like about it and what you like about it. I like the fact that there's 2 different decks that you're managing with your character.
Hmm.
There's a negotiation deck, which is the deck that comes out whenever you're trying to negotiate or talk to someone, or like verbally do battle with them in some way. And it doesn't like hurt them, but it does. If you win, you might get a discount to something, or it might talk you past a battle so that you don't have to use your battle deck. You've got life in this game, and if you lose all your life, you're dead. And likewise, you have, like, was it morale or something like that for your negotiation health pool. But like a deck builder role, like you're going to be earning cards but you have to kind of pick and choose. Do I want to focus on negotiation? Do I want to focus on battle, or do I do both? Do I want to, on the battle deck, do I want to focus on a bleed deck, or do I want to focus on a combo deck or negotiation? Do I want to focus on these intimidate cards, which are a different color, or these I think they're green cards, which are just like just regular like diplomacy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's different strategies for each deck. It operates on a the entire it operates on a day system where at the beginning of the day typically you take a quest and then you go and do it, and then you go and take another quest, then you do it. And you get to choose on the map where to go next, but sometimes you're interrupted. That's annoying sometimes.
Yes.
But like, it doesn't operate like a typical Slay the Spire where you're on a branching path. You're usually given one or two things to do, and then you pick and choose what you want, and you go and do it. Another cool thing about this game is that you can make friends and enemies in this game, like rivals. Making good friends with an NPC will give you some kind of permanent buff. And sometimes, if they're in the same area as you, they will actually come to your aid in a battle, whether it be negotiation or combat. If you've made enemies in this game, sometimes they'll come to haunt you later. Sometimes it'll be a negative debuff. Different things like that. Is there anything about this game that stood out to you? What did you like about this so much? Like,
I don't know. I liked that you can actually see the battle as an animation as you're playing the cards. The action point system, it's so hard because it feels like you don't get enough action points. But I think if you get the right cards and the right combos, then that doesn't matter too much.
yeah, I feel like there is a meta build, I'm sure, somewhere.
Yeah, I love this story. The story's like really good too. The factions, the fact that you can befriend people, you can even skip battles altogether and just bribe them with gold.
But then you can't buy anything. You can't buy a pet. You can't.
You can buy a pet.
Well,
Later on,
if you don't have
buy
enough
a pet.
gold, if you've bribed everyone, you have no money
This is
left.
true.
I'm
This
just
is
saying.
true.
I'm just saying.
You can buy a pet or you can earn a pet, like in different ways, but there's so many branches to go off of. Like it's really a true RPG sort of in that sense where you can just kind of choose your own adventure, I guess. Like you can either go this way or that way, and then it'll branch off to this or this, and then it'll branch off to that or that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's it called? A flow chart, I guess.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, it pushes a lot of nice buttons. It's just I wish there was a casual mode. As you
Yeah.
continue playing, it is a roguelite where you unlock new cards, and I don't remember off the top of my head what it's called, but you can throw points into different areas to become stronger in certain ways.
Yep. You get perks. You get
Perks.
all these different types of perks.
Right, and I think you can like equip 3 or something like that in total, or you have to pick and choose what perks you want. I don't remember. It's been a while. But yeah, there is permanent progression in this game. So in theory, you will do better over the course of the long term. But the learning curve to get there might intimidate some people.
It took me a really long time because of the terminology was so different.
Yeah.
It was actually really harrowing, and overwhelming to see all the different types of terminologies, and I was so confused all the time until I actually wrote it down. I wrote down what it would mean in a regular card game. Like defense was called something else completely different.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like I had the same hurdle to I'm like, so wait a minute. So is this shields? How does this defense word relate to my character's life points and yeah, and so on? Yeah, there's a lot of like verbal terminology in this game that you have to sort of connect the dots and go, oh, this is this, this is this, this is this. Yeah.
And then once you get past that, though, then you can figure out how to actually win.
Yeah.
So
yeah, first you have to understand.
Hurdle.
Yeah, the first hurdle is just understanding the terminology, and then the
Yeah.
next hurdle is okay. Now what do I do with it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
How do you win?
Mhm. How far did you get on this? Did you actually complete a run or no?
I did. I completed a run.
Without cheating?
I got help. I got help.
Mm-hmm. How?
Console debugs, infinite life and all that good stuff. So
I need a bell so I can go shame. Shame. I need a
Hey, it's a
bell.
single listen, it's a single player game, so I'm all for that.
You know,
You know.
if I were younger, I'd be like, you know what, I need that too because I'm too frustrated. I have too many games to where, like, I'm at the point now where I'm a critic. I've got tons of games. If one frustrates me, I can move on to the next one and not bat an eye.
Yeah.
If I were younger and I had only 3 games in my collection, like I had when I was a kid, then I'd
Hmm.
be like, you know, I need to do something to make this better. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't. But
I think of it as I don't have the time to spend on a game to get to the end content. So if there's a way to help push that along, then, as long as like it's not, against terms of condition or anything like that,
right.
then
Typically, it's frowned upon in online, but in single player, it's a little different.
yes, single player. I hate cheaters in online multiplayer. I think that's disgusting.
Agreed. Anything else to say about Griftlands?
It's by the same people who did Oxygen Not Included and Don't Starve Together.
Correct.
And the art style is just superb. I wish more card games had this type of art style, to be honest. It's so cool.
Agreed. All right. I think we are fast
Dun, dun, dun,
approaching.
dun.
Yes. Hold on. Dun da da da. Yes.
Wow.
Number 1.
Number 1.
He might be a permanent thing.
Might be a permanent thing.
Number 5. Number 4. I love this.
Number 4, I love this.
Yes. He loves it.
He loves it.
Yes.
Wow.
All right. Number 1. In case you couldn't tell from the graphic behind my head,
Oh,
do you see
I
that?
couldn't tell. Yeah, I just got it now.
Okay. Yes. So my number 1 was Monster Train. I don't know what it is, but this game it's so good. I really enjoy it. The way this game works, it's like a typical deck building roguelike where you've got branching paths, you have a hand of cards, you've got so much, I think it's ember, not mana or whatever, to play on your turn. What separates this from other deck builder roguelike / lights is that you've got permanent progression, which is good, typically you do, but you've got this layered system, like vertical layered system where enemies, the good guys, come in at the bottom of your train. They do battle with your monsters there, and then they go to the next level, assuming they survive. And then they go to the next level, assuming they survive. And then your core, your heart, is at the top of your train, and then they will start doing damage to that. Now, your heart can fight back and the like, but the point is, there's a lot of strategy in this game in figuring out, okay, I can only put 2 or 3 monsters on each level. Which ones do I put where? How do I arrange them? Because the one in the front typically takes the damage. There are different abilities in this game. There's spells. There's just so much of this game that is so much fun. And then the bosses that you fight, they will consistently harass you across. It operates like on a lane system, really. So if you like deck builder roguelites, but you want a lane system, you may want to check this out because it's a lot of fun. Have you played this before?
I have not played this.
I figured you wouldn't, just because of the theme involved.
Yeah.
You are the bad guys, and there are people out there that don't like being evil.
Yeah.
But the gameplay is very, very well done. There's a lot of different... I think what's satisfying in this game is the different ways that you can combo different card effects together. Like, there are... And there are different factions too. And the way it works is, like, if you've ever played the board game Smash Up, you take 2 factions and then you smash them together, you shuffle the cards together, and that's your deck. So you've got a mix of 2 different factions in one deck. This game operates the same way. You're going to choose 2 factions, shuffle your starter deck, and off you go. You get new cards along the way. That's cool and all. But, I love the different abilities that chain together. I love the management that comes with this game. I love that you can prestige, like, every time you beat this game, you can prestige to the next level. And there's it's just really good.
Cool.
You haven't played this, so I don't want to like harp on it too much. But yeah, Monster Train is probably
It
very
it
well
looks
done.
it looks like Darkest Dungeon, but Darkest Dungeon has people instead of cards, I think.
I guess. I mean, that's kind of fair.
I don't
Um,
know. It just by looking at it, like the whole you have cards and then you have like like people battling out.
it's there's definitely a again there's strategy in how you arrange your monsters on each level. There's strategy in the spells that you use when the timing of your cards. Yeah, it's just I one of the biggest draws of any roguelike is the ability to build a deck that suits your particular play style, and I feel like Monster Train allows you to do that fairly well to some degree. It's not perfect. I have seen other deck builders out there that give you a bit more variety, but this one is well done to the point where I would continue playing this on a regular basis if I had time. So there's that. What was your number one?
My number one was
This surprised me a little bit.
this it did
A little bit.
Blood Card 2 Dark Mist.
Dark Mist. For as graphically inept as this game is, what
hmm
did you like about it that stuck with you? I mean, like,
The mechanic is kind of unlike any um game that I've ever played, where you have a tableau, the creatures just keep coming down, and your life, your actual health, is your deck of cards. And whenever you get attacked, those cards get taken away, and it's really daunting to know that your deck is just getting smaller and smaller, smaller and smaller. And it is so addicting, and it is so much fun.
so she's referring to there's a lane system in this game where there's like a left lane, a middle lane, and a right lane.
Mhm.
And monsters will come from top to bottom. Some can attack at range, so you have to be careful of that. But whenever monsters hit you, they steal your cards and tuck them under themselves. And the only way to get those cards back is to destroy them. So it kind of like there's some strategy in how you tackle the enemies that you see. This one might be really weak, but this card over here that's sitting behind another character might be taking so many of your cards that you have to take the one in front of him first so that you can then get to him to then get your cards back. You know what I mean? So there is some strategy in how you approach these lanes and and if you destroy this character, like the one behind him may be melee and can't do anything to you right now. But the moment you take out his friend right below him, he'll slide down and possibly destroy you and wreck you because he's really powerful. So you may want to leave the weaker character there for a while, focus on the other lanes and take them out first, then focus your efforts on that last one. So like there's different ways to approach the combat in this game with the whole lane system. How
One
far?
of my one of my favorite things about this game is just the factions that they have. I think there's a total of 5 or 6 factions now.
I played as the barbarian, which is like your default character. But I
He
think there's
relies on the bleed,
the bleed.
on bleed. So the more bleed cards you have, the more damage that you can do to the enemies. But they're one time. But there's the cards that you already have that generate bleed cards.
Right. So they like you have a card that will spawn other bleed cards that are one-time use. And that's typical of a deck builder roguelike. Grift lands, sometimes a card will spawn knives that you can only use for that turn or whatever.
Yeah. But the factions, they're so different. Like they're so noticeably different. Like the parasite woman, she like you want to build a deck of parasites and you want the enemies to actually eat those cards because there's certain cards that you have where it'll trigger the parasite card inside of them and can kill them. So
So it does damage to them. It's doing damage to you deals damage to them because they're tucking nasty cards under them. That's really. I've never played anything else besides the barbarian because I haven't had time.
oh man, you're
But
missing out.
there's a druid, I think, right?
Yes, the animal is so cool because you get animals that will cover, like they'll reveal themselves on the top of your deck and your discard pile, and they will attack per turn. and they can like just wipe out an enemy lane. There's the psychic woman, the seer. I remember I had like three cards, and I repeatedly chose, because the psychic thing, you can actually reorder your cards and grab the first one.
Hmm.
I got one that was no energy, and you just keep hitting them over and over. There's a the newest one is the vampire. She was a little bit hard. She was probably my least favorite, but I loved that it was so different from all the other ones. Like every faction is completely different,
Hmm.
and they
I guess the
really
vampire had like a lifesteal thing going on.
a bite. She had like a bite ability, where if they took your cards, you can always just take them right back
Really?
with a bite ability.
Interesting. Okay. That's cool. Without having to kill them first.
Yep.
Ah, okay. Can you turn enemies into like... Because vampires can turn...
Yeah, there is one card, I believe, where you turn a specific type of enemy to your side, like
Hmm,
it'll keep attacking the enemies behind him.
neat. That's cool.
But she was really cool. She had a bunch of confusing cards, like you really had to read them. The problem with her was that there was something else. It was a bite, and there was another word that began with a B. And I'm trying to think of it, but it actually hindered you quite a bit.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Blight?
her cards,
Oh.
anytime she has if it said hunger, her deck, like if you chose a card that said hunger, that card goes into you, and you cannot use it, as it's not in the deck or in the discard. So
Yeah.
you basically lost a life. But then she has damage cards where it'll attack depending the amount depending on how much hunger cards you have inside of you.
That's weird.
So it's pretty confusing. She's definitely my least favorite because of that mechanic, but again, it's so cool how all the factions are so different from one another, and you can really just play one specific to your playstyle or play all of them and have fun playing different playstyles.
Mhm. You said the vampire was new. Is that because they just introduced it or because you had just unlocked it?
They just introduced it.
Ah, so they're still developing the game. That's
The
cool.
only thing I really it's a very difficult game, don't get me wrong. Like the first battles, it's kind of cool to really try and beat the game with like your little wimpy set of cards. And as you keep buying cards from the store, it's really hard because you're so limited on gold, and you have to really choose which relics you want, which cards you want. But the real con about this game is the art style. I like the art, but that's because they're assets from other games.
Yeah.
And that's really unfortunate because that's kind of, I don't want to say thievery. It's just kind of like lazy, I guess.
I'll just say it's very indie. Like
Yes.
it's when you compare Monster Train and its art style to something like this, you can tell the difference in budgets. You know what I mean? Like you can
Yeah.
tell Monster Train had money to work with. This game is probably a solo developer that's just trying to make his way. You know what I mean? And
I
it
will
clearly
say
shows.
though, the gameplay is fantastic though. Like I love the gameplay mechanics. Your friend, what's his name? Debico or Joe or John, the one that made Havenfall.
Debeco
He,
games, yeah.
yeah, he made Duality, and that was amazing because of all the there's so many factions, and just the game mechanics were so interesting and intuitive. And I love a good indie game that has just a unique game mechanic to that.
Agreed. All right, so that was our top 5 digital deck builders, subject to change, of course. Did you have any like honorable mentions that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, sure. Adventure Mart is pretty good.
A board game, okay.
That's like
you didn't like it, I thought.
I the more I think about it, the more I want to play it again, but I feel like I'd still get frustrated from it because I really hate bidding. But the bidding part is not so bad compared to other bidding games. honestly.
Yeah.
So,
For our Adventure Mart we covered recently on our YouTube channel, so go check that out.
hmm
Any other ones?
Shards of Infinity.
Okay, that's a cool one. It's reminiscent of Star Realms, but with extra added mechanics.
hmm Ascension.
Ascension is a good one.
It's very, very, very similar. In fact, Shards of Infinity was on my top five, and Ascension was just too similar, so I didn't even put it on. But I still like that game.
I don't play it very often. I could have sworn that Ascension or a game like it had that whole every time you take a hit, your deck, you lose cards from your deck as your life or something like that. I could have sworn there was another deck builder out there that had that mechanic that was
I
like
don't
that.
remember.
It might have been Ascension, but it might have been something else. Anyway,
I'm just going by like these games that I felt so happy playing long ago.
no, I agree. I
And
understand.
Card City Nights too.
Oh, I haven't. I completely forgot about that one. You like
I
that one?
love that game.
Did you?
I actually really liked it because it was a cute little open worldy type of game, and you can just battle this guy, battle that guy, you know.
I'll have to get back in. I only played it briefly. I might have to go back into it. Is it worth getting back into, do you think?
I put a lot of hours into that game. I thought it was fun. I like the collectibles. What was it they called? Compendium. I like unlocking all the cards that they have to offer.
Gotcha.
And Wizard 101.
That's a deck. Oh, I guess it is, in a
That
way.
is definitely a deck builder.
A
The
grindy
only
one.
the only problem is that it's very money heavy. So
It's a
if you
free-to-play
want,
game that is very microtransaction heavy.
yeah, I mean you can get that same premium currency with trivia, and you can get a lot of it from the trivia, but you have to also spend a lot of hours on it. So,
Yes, you do.
but it's really fun.
Okay, as long as you like it. I had Slay the Spire just because of the workshop support. This is amazing. Grifflands Across the Obelisk, which is it's like Darkest Dungeon in that you've got 4 party members, and there's even co-op, so different people can bring in characters to help you, and then like you control one, your friends control one each or whatever. Luck Be a Landlord is worth mentioning. It's a slot machine roguelite builder where you're adding symbols to your slot machine and trying to earn enough money to pay your rent. It's really cool. Never seen anything like it. It's graphically it's pretty crappy, but the gameplay is interesting. Vault of the Void was one I considered putting on my list because I like the idea of adding gems to your cards. You earn gems as you play. You add them to your cards or whatever they're called.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Solitarica isn't really a deck builder per se, but in between runs you can improve your deck by like make your king stronger, or every time your queen comes up you get this or whatever. So it's more of a roguelite than a deck builder, but Age of Rivals, same thing there. It's less of a deck builder, more of a collectible card game, but it's worth mentioning because I like it. Prismata, you didn't like it very much. I thought it was okay. One Deck Dungeon is more of a dice builder than a deck builder, but it's interesting.
Like Roll for the Galaxy.
I was just about to say Race and
Oh.
Roll for the Galaxy are more dice and tableau builders than anything else, as opposed to deck building, but it's still got building elements. It's an engine builder. Star Realms is a true and true deck builder. I recommend that one. That's a decent one. Shards of Infinity, very much similar to Star Realms. Dominion, again, the whole godfather of deck builders. That's what I got into first with Dominion and went from there. And then a relatively new game called Fights in Tight Spaces. It reminded me of, I think it was Casino Royale, the James Bond movie, where the opening was like the James Bond was the black character, and you had all these red characters like fighting him in this weird art style. Imagine that opening sequence, but the entire art style for the game. And in this game, you're playing cards to move your character around and like do melee attacks against others on this grid. It's not bad. I think it's still in development, but yeah, it's got promise.
It looks like a board game that I saw on Kickstarter a while back.
All right.
Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we'll move on to
It says Star Realms is free to play.
Star Realms is free to play.
That's what it says. Although it has a Star Realms full version for $5. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're limited on like what you can do in the free version, like what difficulty you can put it on and so on.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Okay, Gilbert. What I was trying to do was bring in our community segment. Thank you,
Oh,
Gilbert.
no.
Okay, so quickly, I want to thank all of my Patreon and Twitch supporters. Of course, I'll be reading off your names and the amount that you contributed. Ratsy's pledged $135 this month for a lifetime of $3,905, which is amazing. Scotty R pledged $100 this month for a lifetime of $2,010, also amazing. Brian pledged $50 for a lifetime of $650, again, awesome. Greg Howe, King Bobcat, pledged $10 for a lifetime of $472. Mindalot pledged $5 for a lifetime of $105. Rip Alpha pledged $1 for a lifetime of $50. And Alyssa Barrett and Rabid Amoeba both pledged $1 for a lifetime of $9. So those are my Patreon supporters. I did send out keys to the top 3. So Ratsy, Scotty, and Brian, check your emails, let me know. Twitch supporters or subscribers, I think it's just the standard $5 a month for subscribing. White Knight 74648, I say that every time, it drives him crazy, but White Knight, my brother, 38 months subscription, that's awesome. Bessa 702, 36 months. X Misa 88, 9 months. Rapid Amoeba 8 months. Little Lily P 6 months. Nev Plays 5 months. Nick Beard 50, 4 months, and K Toro 1 month. So thank you everyone that is supporting me on Patreon or supporting me on Twitch. As you guys may or may not be aware, I am back to working full time. So I am not going to be able to put out as much content as I was before. I was typically doing 2 or 3 videos a day. My goal is to do 1 per day, but it may be 1 every other day. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. This new job is taking a lot of my time. My goal was to get enough money to, make enough money from Patreon and Twitch to where I wouldn't need to go back to work. But realistically, a lot of in my head, I'm going, you know what, if every one of my 40,000 plus YouTuber subscribers just donated $1 each, I would be like $40,000 a month. I wouldn't need to go back to work. This would be great. I could do it. Realistically, though, 90% of my subscribers are probably under the age of 16 and don't have any money. So, I want to thank those that are supporting me financially, physically, mentally, all that stuff. It does mean a lot to me. But, I had to go back to work. So I apologize to you folks that are supporting me, that are expecting the same amount of content. I'll do my best, but I can't promise anything. New releases. I don't know how new these are. Growing Medieval is 10% off right now. It's $23. It's relatively new. I think it's early access. Necromunda Hired Gun is 15% off, $34. Tainted Grail Conquest, 10% off, $18. The Last Spell, 10% off, $18. And Griftlands, I think, just left early access. It's 20% off, $16. Sales this week. Steam sales, I only grabbed a couple. Battlefield 5 is 67% off, $16. Battlefield 4, 75% off, $10. And Borderlands 3, 67% off, $20. There's more. Go look. GMG, Green Man Gaming. I am affiliated. There's a link in the below description. Use the code June16, one word, to get 16% off most of your games. Dragon Quest games right now on that site are 35 to 60% off, so go look there. Humble Bundle has a survivalist sale. I'm also an affiliate of them, so again, link in the below description. Survivalist sale includes things like the Dying Light Platinum Edition. It's 80% off, $20. Dead Island Collection, 80% off, $8. World War Z Game of the Year Edition, 70% off, $13.38. I need Arnold Schwarzenegger to yell, "Put that cookie down now!" I could
It's
see.
not cookie. It's nuts.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Put the nut down now! No, I'm kidding. Don't Escape, 4 Days to Survive, 60% off $6. There's a lot more, so go check them out. Okay, I guess that almost wraps things up. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the Spanish sentence. Because my soundboard is all messed up, I'm pulling this from YouTube, so bear with me.
Au contraire, mon capitaine! He's back!
I don't think she can hear anything, but that's okay. Okay, so we've got Este padre ama su trabajo. I know that word. Y desea poder trabajar ali para siempre. So.
What about the parrot? The parrot has to say.
Okay, all right, hold on. All right, Gilbert, we got this. Este padre ama su trabajo y desea poder trabajar ala para siempre. Yes. See. Yes. So,
Wow.
Este is the first word. Padre. Este's father.
Okay.
Ama su trabajo. Trabajo is work. That's the one Spanish word I know. So, Este's father works y desea. That is in the desert. So, Este's father works in the desert. Poder trabajar ali para siempre. So
Real quick.
Yes.
What are two L's pronounced?
E.
When they're
Yeah,
together.
it's yeah.
Ja.
Yeah.
Or
Ja.
yeah.
Yeah, sure. So, Poder is
Porter's brother.
yeah, Poder. Yeah, Hodor's brother from Game of Thrones.
No, I was kidding.
No, that's right. I mean, I'm gonna go with that. Hodor's brother, Poder,
No.
works very simply. For simply. So we've got Esta's father works in the desert, and Hodor's brother Poder works simply with Muhammad Ali. That's you muted, I think.
Oh, did I?
Okay, you're good. You're good.
You made me laugh so hard I muted.
So is that correct? What do you think? Is that correct? Is that
So-
correcto?
What did you say again? Wow.
I don't know what
This-
I said. I
What? Esther's father?
hold on. Oh, okay. Go ahead. The parrot is listening.
Okay, so Esther's father works for the desert.
Works in the
and-
desert.
Works in the desert with Podor.
Hodor's brother Poder works simply with Muhammad Ali. Or
Okay.
for Muhammad Ali, because Pada
Very
is for.
close. Very, very close.
Okay.
Super close. But it actually says, Este padre ama su trabajo y desearía poder trabajar allí para siempre. Right? And it means this dad loves his job and wishes he could work there forever. So you just said this dad loves his job and wishes he could work there forever. That's what you just said.
Correcto!
Sounds like a little kid.
Love it. All right. So I guess with that being said, I think that concludes our podcast for this month. It's been fun. I enjoy doing these podcasts. I would really look forward to the day where, we've actually got some kind of consistent, schedule going to where we can do these on a regular basis. But for right now, I'm enjoying these. and I hope you guys are too. If you guys want to support me on Patreon and let me know that, hey, these podcasts, I want to see more of them. If I get enough support on Patreon, maybe we will do more. We'll see. So I guess with that in mind, stay safe out there and be good. This is Vincent Ida Lee. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time. Take care.
Bye, guys.